Hello children, welcome to GNTV Junior, and today we are going to read a wonderful book, Kente for a King. Kente for a King. This book was written by Angela Christian and it was retold by Kathy Knowles and has been illustrated by Edmond Opari. Today is being read by Clemento Suarez. Look, Kente is an authentic and original identification of a true Ghanaian. Aside our national flag, our national dialect, Kente is one of the things that can stand anywhere and everybody will point at it and say this is originally Ghanaian or it comes from Ghana. Today, let's move straight into the book of Kente for a King. Let's sing this song. Crow, 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 he, crowing, crowing, crow, 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 he, crowing, crow, he, crowing, crow, crowing, crow, na yamido, bonre kente nyineno, ayamido. The rest, ask mommy and daddy, they will respond to that for you, okay? So let's go on with the book, Kente for a King. Once upon a time. If you don't say it, I'll say it for myself, okay? Many years ago, in the kingdom of Ashanti, there lived a powerful king. He was a fearless warrior, brave in battle, and respected by his followers. The king's people were skilled in metal work, carving and weaving. No one could match the quality of the gold weights they cast, the stools they carved, and the cloths they wove. It's too good. Bonre was the weaving center of the Ashanti kingdom. According to legend, there's a guy called Kurugu and Ameyao. They were brothers. This is not Ameyao Debra, okay? This is Kurugu and Ameyao. Two brothers from this village went into the forest to hunt. There they saw a spider weaving beautiful web. Not Spider-Man. No, this one is the 8-legged spider. You see it on a tree trying to weave its own web. They saw it and it was so beautiful to them. So Kurugu, the senior brother, said, if this little spider can make such a lovely design, we should be able to do same. The two brothers returned to Bonre and wove special cloths using black and white fibers from the raffia palm tree. They named these cloths Kente after Kenteng. Kenteng is an Akan word for basket. Basket is called Kenteng, but because basket too is woven, these brothers named their first cloth Kente after Kenteng, which is basket, and presented it to the king, this wonderful strong warrior king. The king was so pleased, he was very pleased. As the years passed, the king grew tired of wearing only black and white kentes all the time. He called the royal weavers of Bonre together. He showed them the many fine cloths they had woven and congratulated them. He said, look, you've done this for me. Black and white is very beautiful. Black and white is also beautiful. But, the king said, if you want to please me even more, could you weave kente cloth using many different colors? The weavers wanted to satisfy their king. You know already he's a good king, so everybody loved him. And we said his followers respected him. So they wanted to satisfy the king. But how could they weave a cloth of many colors when all they had was black and white yarn? Yarn was the raw material they used in weaving the cloth. So the people were thinking, they were wondering how they were going to satisfy the king. So there was one man called Opoku, one of the best weavers. He had that idea. He said, we are surrounded by many different trees and plants. We could get beautiful colored dyes by pounding their bark and roots and grinding the seeds. The weavers did so and were happy with the colors they produced. They produced colors like gold, green, and red. Yes. When each of them had woven a colored kente, they set out once again to the king's palace in Kumasi. They walked from Bonre. If you check, ask mommy to Google Bonre to Kumasi for you. It's a long distance, but because they were happy to serve the king, they walked. If Bonre were to be in Greater Accra, Bonre would have been in Pokwase, and Kumasi would be in Tema. They walk to the king's palace in Kumasi just to show him what they've been able to produce. At the palace, their leader spoke. O king, great is our joy, for now we have woven colored kentes for you. The king replied, my people, my dear people, you have truly pleased me. You have pleased me too. How colorful and beautiful are the kentes you have woven. The king removed his black and white kente and put it somewhere. Where's the dry line? He put it on the dry lines. He said, I'm not going to wear this again. And he put on the brightly colored one made by Opoku. The weavers rejoiced and returned to Bonre to weave more beautiful kentes for their beloved king. Clap for the weavers. So one night, Opoku was sleeping around 9:38 to 11:30 to 12 inside the one, getting to 2 or 3. Opoku started dreaming. He had a dream where in the dream he was standing before the sea and shining colors appeared. You see, in the book you will see rainbow. The rainbow was across the sea. He woke up. When he awoke, Opoku knew he must travel through the great forest to reach the sea. You know, in Kumasi there is no sea. You can stay in Kumasi for 10 million years, you will not see the sea. So when somebody sees the sea and comes to tell you about the sea, you also want to go and see the sea. So Opoku wanted to see the sea and the colors he saw in the dream. So the next morning, you know what Opoku did? Before anybody in Bonre was awake, Opoku prepared his journey. He took granules and katia. He removed some of the husk and put in his pocket. Put one in the pocket. He took gari. Opoku took sugar. He took smoked fish. He put them in a strong animal skin sack. I'm sure you might have seen some. They will put it across like this, and so everything will be here. He filled a gorge with water. If it were present day, he would use water bottle. And at that time it was raining, so Opoku, like this, Opoku wanted to hurry up so that he would cross the forest. So he tied a small sack of gold dust around his waist. When he left, the forest was cool and dew. Like I told you, there was water coming. Dew dripped from the trees. Soon the sun became very hot, but he continued his journey. When Opoku could no longer walk, he was so tired he felt he could not walk any further. He saw a man cutting palm nuts. The man invited him to spend the night. The next morning, Opoku thanked him so much, he thanked his host. Somebody who invites someone to stay in his house is a host to the stranger or to the visitor. So Opoku the next morning thanked his host and set out along the forest path. He still wanted to see the sea. After many weeks of walking, I told you, Bonre, from Bonre past Kumasi, Konongo, Odumasi, Jabing to Nkinkenso, all the way. Now you are coming to reach in Sawem. The selling brodo and all that. Hey, it's far, Papa. Then you think you have reached Accra, not knowing it's just Pokwase. Then you walk to Achimota. They say Achimota, oh, Achimota. Then some cars will come. They say Accra, Accra. Then you make confused. Say, what? Is Accra not Accra anymore? You walk out till you see the sea. So after many weeks, Opoku found himself on a plain of small bushes, and all around were tall red ant hills. Before him was a huge body of water, larger than any lake he had ever seen in the kingdom of Ashanti. I told you, there is no sea in Kumasi, so nobody will see sea in Kumasi. See nanako, kata bonku to pra, mami, pape, really boom, fire. Let's continue. So as Opoku walked along the beach, he met a kind man who learned that he was a stranger and invited him to his home. To his great joy, his host, the man who called him from the beach to his house, was also a weaver. You see, you should imagine how Opoku felt to meet his fellow weaver after walking weeks to Accra or to even the beach or wherever, Cape Coast, Takrady. When Opoku entered the compound, he could not believe what he saw. The kente on the loom was not just white, nor was it just colored. The colors had a beautiful sheen, which made the kente look very rich, richer than what they sent to the king. He reached out and touched it gently with his hands. The yarn is so smooth and shiny, he said. Yes, said Opoku's host. Now let's give a name to Opoku's host. Let's say his name is Mr. Kwachi. Yes, or Bukumbanku. Yes, Bukumbanku. So the yarn is made of silk, Bukumbanku said. It came from traders who crossed the sea from faraway places. I gave them gold as payment for the silk. Opoku built a loom and proceeded to weave a cloth with new designs. His host, Bukumbanku, said, "You have woven a cloth fit for a king." Opoku replied, "I shall call it kente cloth of the ultimate design, and I shall present it to my king." Opoku untied the bag of gold dust. "I must buy silk yarn from you so that I can weave more silk kentes for him." "Take all the yarn you need," Bukumbanku said. Opoku thanked him and invited him to Bonre to be presented to the king. Clap for Bukumbanku. He has done so well to receive a stranger and also introduce him to something different from what he used to do. Opoku arrived home to Bonre very early one morning. He took his bath, put on a clean cloth, and waited inside. When he saw the royal weavers come to the compound, he came out of his room. "Opoku! Hey, Opoku! Where have you been, Opoku? We have looked for you everywhere. We thought something terrible had happened to you. We thought we would never see you again," said the other weavers, the royal weavers. Some were old, some were young. They were so worried they hadn't seen Opoku in weeks. Opoku said, "I had a dream. To make it come true, I had to travel far away and I could not tell anybody." The leader of the weavers stepped forward. "Did you find what you were looking for, Opoku?" Opoku said, "Yes." "Oh, yes." Well, Opoku then brought out the colored silk kente cloth that he calls the ultimate design. When they heard Opoku's story, they congratulated him on his courage and his skill in weaving the most beautiful kente they had ever seen. Then everyone stood up and in joyful procession, they walked straight to the palace. Now you have to clap for Opoku because he has walked from the beach weeks to Bonre, and the next morning they are coming to walk again to Kumasi. Hey! Opoku Abre. So they started their journey. They walked to the king. And when the weavers reached the palace, they saw the king at once. Opoku presented his kente cloth of ultimate design, and the king gazed at the cloth in wonder. He said, "Who wove this magnificent kente?" asked the king. "I, Opoku, wove it for my king," he replied. The king summoned Opoku to tell his story. When he finished, the king announced, "To show my gratitude, I appoint Opoku as the chief royal weaver." Come and see. The phantom from the Etumpai. Everybody was happy. They were playing. They danced Adwa. They danced Kete. Everybody rejoiced. And the men carried Opoku up on high on their shoulders. And the weavers sang and danced them to the beating of the drums and carried Opoku on their shoulders as they returned to Bonre. You should feel for the weavers carrying somebody on your shoulders, walking from Kumasi back to Bonre. Clap for them. They did so well for their friend. To this day, the kings of Ashanti wear colorful silk kente woven with the traditional designs of Opoku and his descendants. Children, this is the end of a beautiful story of kente. Kente for a king. If you think Opoku did well, put your hands together for him. If you think the Bonre weavers did well, put your hands together for him. But all in all, let's be happy and be proud of our original Ghanaian Bonre kente. Put your hands together for yourselves for listening to this wonderful story. You can get this and read as well, okay? Kente for a King, a book originally written by Angela Christian. And this was retold by Kathy Knowles and illustrated by Edmond Opari. Children, it was read by Clemento Suarez. You can get a book or a copy and let mommy also read it to you, or you can read it to mommy and daddy, okay? Till we meet again next time, you're going to go over the story. Think about it. This is your heritage, all right? Till we meet again with another story. It's with Clemento Suarez, GNTV Jr. We say bye.